Picks and bans coming at you right about now for the conclusion of our first set of the day. Dignitas will opt for the first selection here, and Mouse is totally fine with that. When Mouse have the choice, they like to go with the secondary pick, and Dignitas like to go with the first. Usually, Team Dignitas opts for a jungler to give to QvoFred, and then Mouse on the other side try to find that ROM for Jermain.
And they went for the Circuit, the first pick in both of their games. I don't necessarily maybe even expect that this time around. I think that they're content with the Circuit or any other jungler here for QvoFred.
We'll see if that's the case. Same band so far. No new guy, no Giannis, and no Habwa. Dignitas banned Hebo in game 1, didn't in game number 2, and Cherryo got it, and they realize why this character is still that strong. Also, no Thoth. Hebo's been funny because at the beginning of the season, before the Pro League, everybody was ranting and raving about this pick. The Pro League came in, and a couple of people played him, and he did kind of okay. A couple of nerfs, which in my mind didn't really change the core of the character, took some damage off of the knockup. Good, but the rest of the damage was still there.
Yeah, he's still a powerful god that has a lot of mobility for himself, his teammates with a river. A little bit of cooldown reduction just adds some more flavor to the team fights. And I'm not surprised that they ban away Habwa because I think they'll be happy and satisfied if BMT gets the Raw instead.
There's the ROM for Jermain. Server is going to be selected one more time, likely for Nika and Sobek across the way. Really what it is for me is that Habwa is just as viable a pick as some of the other heavy, hard carries in the jungle. It's just about playstyle. The majority of the junglers that we see in the Pro League don't have that Habwa jungle. Homie FA has a really nice one.
I want to humiliate them.
Didn't win him the game, though.
No.
Unfortunately.
I'm trying to think of the other junglers. Lionheart has one. Shouts to Paladin Strike.
Anister.
Andy.
Anister really likes to play.
We haven't seen it in years, though.
That's true. Maybe he'll experiment a little bit and bring it out on land. Who knows?
Well, Cherryo brings it out all the time. Looks really strong on it. But with it banned, Cherryo's going to opt for the Hun Bats. More control-oriented. And it's funny. We always say Cherryo's a little bit different than the other characters in the league because he has a different god pool. And by that, we always talk Guardians. But even when he plays the Assassins, the hard carries, it's a different god pool. Hun Bats, Hebo, right? The Naja, right? Oddball picks, but Cherryo makes them work.
He definitely does, and that's why he's just so considered highly like a landable every now and then. Even playing these high demanding gods online when he has like 300 ping from Egypt.
Really important bans right here. Not just the Ymir, but the Agni as well. You and the casters pointed out that the Agni was a really big portion of what brought Mouse the win here. So not going to have that available to them. Sylvanas will be the guardian of choice for Dardez. And Dignitas immediately respond with an Artemis.
That's pretty late game right there for Arkkyl. I think that he'll be able to definitely survive a lot against the engagements from Cherryo. As soon as that Fear No Evil comes through, you drop the boar, and you get out of the range of that circle, and then you continue to fight.
So Xing Qian, we saw his character in game number 1 as well. We kind of glossed over it. What is it about Xing Qian that Variety wants?
So in a world where late game hunters are now becoming a thing again, that furious roar to mitigate a lot of that damage is what it's about.
So it's going to mitigate some of what Jermain brings, not what BigManTingz brings. Scylla, last selection for the middle lane. This is the reward for game number 2. BigManTingz, you carried the torch for us in game number 2. You were the guy. Now you get to be the big star of the game. Totally, will it work?
I think so. I think that definitely BMT, if he connects his shots, Mouse win. If he doesn't, then Dignitas should be able to have the late game.
A lot of weight on the shoulders for the new mid laner. We'll see if it's enough. I really, honestly, it would just be fun to see Mouse win this one. I think it'd be poetic justice for a team that has struggled throughout the regular season. But the final game, important land implications for Dignitas. Should they lose this one, they're staying home.
Energy gets to go.
We'll see if Dignitas keep their dreams alive. Bring us the game, Finch and the Gambler.
Thank you, FDOT. Thank you, Anatoly, for breaking that one down for us. I am here with a.k.a. the Savage, a.k.a. the Gambler Hindu Man.
Yeah.
We're going to be going into the game, but he talked about how there's a lot of pressure on BigManTingz. Not just Tings, but Cherryo, too, on this Unbots. It feels high execution to me, this Mouse composition.
I think Digger in a prime position here. I think it's very, very tricky to have Scylla in the mid lane compared to that of Agni. I guess this is a go-to for the team just because, like, one of BigManTingz's gods is stronger, plays Scylla. I think his Agony is just so much further stand out.
Well, who do you all think will win, Mixer Chat? Please vote for me one more time. I will be waiting with bated breath to find out who you think is going to win. I will, yeah.
So you're going to go,
yeah. I'm not breathing right now. I'm just talking.
Really?
I don't have to breathe to talk.
Okay, we'll see how long that lasts for.
It's still going right now.
Okay.
Impressive, huh? It's still going.
I'm trying to watch you on the camera to see if he's free.
I'm not.
You're not?
No. But this is
please don't die. I don't want to do this solo. Like.
This is an incredibly important game 3, though, Graham, between these two teams here right now. And Dignitas, I mean, they need it. Mouse, not as much, right? Not really anything on the line, but Dignitas need this.
I don't think anyone came into today thinking, you know what? Dig will probably lose to Mouse. No one came with that idea. It was like, okay, so they've got the role of Mouse, as in the rollover of Mouse.
Right. So that'll be a freebie, and then they, like, how's the obey set go, right? Yeah.
But it's not to be. Mouse came out in game 2, in all honesty. This makes me excited for the summer split for them, too. I was tweeting about Splice yesterday in North America. They're going to be dangerous in the summer. They really are. They just keep doing the same thing. And Mouse is starting to find that identity. I'm going to talk about the identity is like, where is this team? What is this team about? Last year, they had these things with the mid laner doing unconventional things as well as the support. This year, they tried to run it again, and I felt like, do it in the support, don't do it in the mid as well. I think we should just pick one or the other. And this comp really is a very standard comp here.
Dignitas are going to be favored here by chat, but a little bit less. Mouse has won over some of the chat after that game 2 victory. I think it was 84% down to 73, so some of chat has swung over to Mouse's side.
Do you like the one real difference we see out of Dignitas here? No Hachiman this draft. Hachiman was available, wasn't picked up. I think some of that does come down to the 2v2 a little bit, just because of how Sylvanas plays in the laning phase. Sylvanas has a couple of advantages against a Hachiman. A little bit, I'd say. Just because you throw the root, he's going to try and dash, but then he telegraphs where his dash is going anyway, so you can pull him back again. So it makes it a bit trickier for a Hachiman in that laning phase. Although, well, Artemis doesn't have an easy time either, but Artemis is starting mid here. Big change for Dig.
Yeah, they're going to let Trixtank handle this duo lane.
Mid pressure.
If you want to call that by himself, so they get pressure mid. Pluck lands.
Oh, what?
Jermain has to use the beads and gets tremendously low by that tower shot. Good play there from Trixtank, but it's gonna hurt his clear. I gotta think to get the pluck.
Not gonna lie, Jermain's beads were like in summer split. That's how long it took him to use those beads then. So he was already being plucked through the sky.
Well, did you think that Trixtank solo in the duel is gonna take pluck?
Hey,
no one else did either.
If you're gonna stand at the tower line like that, if anything, the better target from
because why would he have pluck?
The better target for him to actually get there, which would have been better for him, would be get Dardez. Just because character model of Guardians are generally a little bit bigger than that of a Hunter, and it makes the body blocking in the tower range a little bit easier. Of like, no tree, you will not get past me. You'll take another tower shot, and 2 tower shots at a level 1 will be death. Will be death.
Arkkyl still not in the duo lane. Goes for the back Harpies. Now finally going to come over and join Trixtank over in the duo lane. But that's not the only start that has me a little bit interested here. Book of Thoth Rush, it looks like, is what's coming out from BigManTingz.
Yeah, and keeping Scylla on the back foot in the early game, giving Zyrhoes a bit of an edge by getting the pressure in the first wave is very useful for him. Just allows him to get to that level 2 just a hair quicker, and allows him to be a little bit safer in this lane. He's not too worried about Scylla at level 2, because her clear is not going to be as impactful at the level 2 as Discordia as well.
Right.
Because obviously the Strife and the Unruly Magic both are great wave clear abilities, whereas Sikkim, not as good.
Yeah, she's one of those, still is really one of those mages that until she can put some more points in Crush, really, the clear doesn't really improve that much. Sikkim only kind of hits 1 minion, so we'll see if BigManTingz will be able to keep that going for him.
One of the reasons why he's rushing the Book of Thoth too, just to get that extra power spike earlier on as well. Make sure when the Crush does hit that rank 5, the passive kicks in, which means it does more damage, and then you're really going to start swinging quicker.
It's a ton of damage that Book of Thoth can give you for sure, especially if you're able to get it stacked up. So that's going to be the plan from Tings. I'm a little worried about Arkkyl, though. Looks like already a bit behind, still kind of trying to find some farms.
He'll be okay. Yeah, I'm not too worried about it so early in the game. I mean, levels nowadays, like the first 15 minutes, unless it's 3 levels, I'd say, difference between people, that's when I'm worried. And most of the time, the only ones that ever really slip 3 levels down are either solo laners, which tells me the game's done, or it's Guardians, which is also, you know, you can get away with that to an extent. Hunters, it'll be like 2 levels behind tops.
BigManTingz is going to join Cherryo for those oracles, so even despite the start from Dig to give him some pressure in mid, BigManTingz and Cherryo have their buffs. I mean, they're able to grab some of this neutral farm. It really doesn't look like it's affected BigManTingz too much. Qvo going to step up, but they are at least able to out-clear Mouse. That's not too big a surprise.
Yeah, that was a lot more to do with Cherryo and farming efficiently with him as well to make sure they got as many camps as they can. The speed buff's coming up, though. This is the time where gank opportunities are available. What is with these beads from these two hunters? That beads was in Summer Split as well. So late.
Trixtank ends up getting poked out pretty substantially and sticks around. One of the advantages for the Sylvanas, able to hit the minions, anyone nearby with those AoE autos. Trix is going to be able to heal up just a little bit, though, with the sustain in the Sobek kit, but these beads are getting forced from these hunters.
And to be fair, I've got to give special credit to the Guardians, because both of those have been the ones that have forced those beads out of panic situations from both the carries. Arkkyl, a little bit late on the beads there on the pull. I guess he didn't expect the pull to connect. In the end, he might as well just got pulled in, and then after the fact, if he got rooted and followed up damage beads, because they weren't going to be enough for a kill potential out there, I felt. There definitely was for the beads that Jermain used earlier on. That's for sure. They were just late too.
Jermain survived either way as the blue buff gets stripped by QvoFred, coming over to try and make life a little bit harder for Nika. See if they're on the ground. He's going to come grab these Harpies as well. Qvo trying to really take away some of this jungle from Mouse.
Yeah, just strip it away. This is what Qvo's done every game. They've given him Circuit every single time, Mousesports, and they've expected him to be on the right-hand side. Look where Cherryo is. Always seems to be on the left-hand side of things, outside of his speed buff. But now in the mid lane, going to meet Qvo, who is level 5.
Yep.
But a full minion wave there, Finch. I think that's the reason we don't see any aggression just yet.
Also didn't have an ultimate from Zyrhoes, even though Tingz was already level 5. So a bit swapped around the jungles and the mages who got to hit level 5 together. Neither one of them did. So we don't see any aggression. Everyone kind of backs up, and instead they come grab their own Harpies.
Lane freezing. Something you see more and more of this season, and people starting to do it a lot better. Dignitas is going to freeze the wave under their tower, making the Rama and Sylvanas overextend. The deeper they are, the further they've got to run back to safety, and more opportune chance of gank opportunities there as well because of that. When you've got a circuit in the jungle, that's what you want.
It's a little bit harder to build up a lead for yourself as the pluck comes out. Dardez uses the Wrath of Terror, the knockup on the Trixtank, brings him insanely low. Dardez gets it with the Wisp. A little bit of help coming out from Jermain. Obviously, first blood goes over to Mouse.
So the combo was set up by Dig of pluck into trap into bore into death. Bad news is Dardez went pluck into ult into dead of Trixtank. That's kind of what just happened. Brutal. There's nothing really Trixtank could do to get away from that. He just took way more damage than he bargained for.
That's the one thing that you got to worry about when you're controlling or moving around supports. Sometimes you kind of initiate for them. Imagine if Sylvanas had a jump. That's what that looked like. Like Sylvanas jumped in and Wrath of Terror.
And that's the thing about Mousesports duo lane. We talk about it all the time, about how good this team as a duo lane is. Dardez and Jermain are a dangerous team to play against. Variety, bit of pressure, but turns it around.
Sends him right into QvoFred, who is waiting. I don't even know if last breath was necessary, but Nika's down.
Get absolutely baited. Variety was on the tower edge like, yeah, I'm just on another tower edge against the Cerberus. Don't mind me, you know, I'm not worried about anything. And Nika's like, you doing? You crazy madman. I'm just going to pull you under the tower. And Variety's like, ah ha ha, little did you know. My circuit was waiting in the wings and you fell for my trap. Trap card played. We talk Pokemon
trap card activated.
Yeah, okay, you're right. Fair play. Curses.
Turnabout is fair play.
My Yu-Gi-Oh references are not on point just recently. That's
you don't watch those Yu-Gi-Oh all-day streams or whatever?
I mean, I've seen Yu-Gi-Oh in the past, but not recently.
Oh, okay.
I got bored of Blue Eyes White Dragon and him always winning. It's always
Kaiba rarely wins. Let's not stop with this. Nika gets punished in the solo lane. Variety and QvoFred. QvoFred showed a lot of attention to the solo lane, I feel like, as much as Cherryo's been showing on the left-hand side.
Early game, though, you can try and abuse that with a Jing 10 and a Circuit, too. Don't forget, Nika didn't go for beads this game. Obviously, you'll see more teleports coming through. But there's definitely a CC chain where Stygian Torment takes a little bit of a ramp-up. You can hear it coming. And same can be said for Jing 10. So the game is who ults first loses. And in that scenario, Nika lost. Variety won, and Qvo was there to pick up the pieces. That's why you see Qvo over there a little bit more often in these early stages.
And the kill goes the way of QvoFred. Remember, first blood for Mouse went on to Dardez, which is not always the worst thing. Supports could use a little bit of extra farm. I think we all agree, but probably wouldn't have hated getting that one onto Jermain either.
Yeah, it's always useful to get the Sylvanas ahead a little bit more. A Guardian from ahead is always useful anyway, at all stages of the game. Just get an extra level or two means they've got a bit more cooldown in their kit, or a little bit more survivability, or, you know, just raw damage, which is very, very useful to a Guardian.
Bit of not full-on wave freezing, but Jermain and Dardez aren't going to push it all the way up to them.
I like
They're trying to force Dignitas to step out a little bit out from the tower line to clear.
Oh, no, but the bait is on because they're winning this fight.
Trixtank gets shredded,
Qvo.
but now that Boar comes out, that's going to get the lockdown on the Dardez. Looking for the shots is Jermain. He finds him, puts him down. At least though QvoFred able to turn it around. Now with the last breath, bees to keep him getting thrown back in. Cherryo is here now. Fear No Evil forces QvoFred to retreat. Strife lands, but he can follow the bounce if he wants it. Luckily though, that's not me. Cherryo, smarter, chooses not to bounce in and lives.
BigManTingz actually had his ultimate pop there in the jungle too. He just used it on the red camp because I thought he was going to rotate all the way around too. That could have been an opportunity. Instead, they didn't, and in the end, it became a 2-for-1. Jermain nearly took both down the duo lane there before Qvo could make the impact on the Sylvanas. But the game plan, you see the game plan there. Dignitas set it up originally of like lane freeze and look for the pluck into tower. Last time that didn't work, and Mouse got confident and went, you know what? Do that again, boys. We want another free kill. This time, though, Dig's like, all right, sure. We'll let this happen again. We'll fight again like this. But this time, Qvo's going to come on the rotation, and you're going to get punished for it. Trix lives a lot longer than they bargained for, turns it around. Even though Arkkyl did fall down there, Jermain survived. So it's definitely a win in one aspect towards Mouse because Jermain surviving means he gets a bit more experience and, you know, doesn't die herbed up.
We do see him come out with a little bit of a lead there over Arkkyl, but as you said, not too impactful here at this point, but it's the beginnings. Jermain does come out a bit on top there in that fight.
I'm not sure about the build from Big Man now, though. Going for full boots into Warlock Staff and leaving the Book of Tier 2. Now, that means it's probably going to be a Soul Reaver next then, instead of the Book of Toth option. Obviously, the extra health's going to help him out to take some of the brunt of damage that you're going to get. It's one of the reasons you see more of the Warlock stash, really. The power has gone down, as has the health a little bit as time has gone on with this time in the start of the season.
Good.
With where it once was.
Yeah, you shouldn't be able to be tanky and do a whole bunch of damage. Tired of aggro in these mid laners. I'm going off right now.
I mean, in fairness to the mid laners.
No!
I'm always the... even though it calls me the savage, I'm always the fair one. I'm like, but Warriors and Guardians do it too, Finch.
Yeah, but they're supposed to be tanky.
Are they supposed to deal lots of damage too?
Well, they don't do lots of damage.
Really?
I mean, they do a good bit.
Really?
Okay, yes, they
Ymir
do a lot of
is
damage.
one of the
They do a
most
lot.
damaging ults in the game.
That does. I don't feel sympathy for mages.
No,
I
no,
hit
no.
one ability this fight.
That's fair.
I'm aggro.
I mean, Hunters do 2 auto attacks, and you know, they kill people too in 2 autos.
Yeah, but hunters are cool.
Why are they cool?
You know, autos are cool. Basic attacks.
Fear
Fear
No
No Evil comes out. Has to watch out. This
Awkward.
QvoFred able to make it.
Awkward from Cherryo. I'm not sure about that play. It was kind of a look this way, look that way. I guess the Fear No Evil helps in stealing the red, just in case the rotation was coming through from Dignitas there. It felt a little bit awkward, a little bit split. He didn't invest in either, really. He was kind of like, I'll throw it out and see what happens. And it worked out, I guess, for the red.
Yep. Trade the ultimate to grab the buff. Thought maybe they would try and come back towards the Fire Giant, but look at all the vision control Dignitas have on this side. They certainly would know what would be going on in that jungle, so Mouse elect not to. They just take the red buff, take their small victory, and pull it back. I've already stressed how important this game is, Graham. These two teams are both playing it very calculated.
Talk about calculate. Dardez with a very early Lotus Crown this game as well. It's a useful item on Sylvanas just because when you get dot heals like Sylvanas gives with those wisps, it's going to refresh that Lotus Crown, extra protections to your teammates. And I guess it's technically going to be online a little bit quicker than the Aura is for your team from a Heart Ward Amulet or a Sovereignty or a Thebes. So I get it. It can be a little bit risky though, but look at this. Gold Fury attempt again.
Who's nearby for Team Dignitas? No one just yet. Arkkyl finally is here, but doesn't have the mounted archery this time. No Fear No Evil available for Cherryo either, so Arkkyl has to try and avoid the shots from Jermain. He does live, instead lands down into the control from the rest of Team Dignitas. Qvo finds Dardez.
The board did all the work in that fight. I'd love a replay of that fight. If
from the board's perspective?
From the board's perspective, because the board actually didn't go on Cherryo at the start of that fight, right? It went on to, I believe, it was Jermain at the beginning, and then danced around the backline before hitting Cherryo. As it was dancing around, nobody really wanted to use beads because they weren't threatened by the boar alone. But then it bought enough time for the rest of Dig to turn up and go, clean up crew, let's get them all, and now they can look at the Gold Fury.
Nika's here. He's kind of the only one that can say no to this Gold Fury from Team Dignitas. He does jump over the wall. He got steal it away. Nika is the champion they need. Whirlwind of Rage and Steel. He's almost certainly going to pay for it with his life, but a gooder boy, it'd be hard to find. Nika takes it.
That's twice he's managed to do that in 2 separate games.
Yeah, can't let that happen.
Jump over the wall and spit. Can't be happening. Can't be happening. I'd rather them just body block the shots, if anything.
Could you imagine? That's effectively a dog jumping over a wall and spitting on your money. How mad would that make you? That's the worst. They gotta do something better to not let Nika just kind of walk. That's exactly what happened.
It really is. I've just never thought about him jumping over all dogs jumping over all to spit on my money.
Well, that's what I mean. You wouldn't have let it happen, but Dig ended up allowing Nika to come in on the backside and take that one away. He is.
He's a good boy.
Hard to find a gooder one than that.
In that scenario, for sure. And honestly, that kind of, equalizes the mistakes that Mouse made around that Gold Fury. They went for the all-in attempt. They didn't respect the fact the Artemis was going around the corner, and the ball did come into play quite considerably in that fight, which allowed Dig to get control of it, but stolen away, which means that Mouse technically come out on top, or at least even.
They do. They end up losing, though, quite a few kills. Now up 5-2 are Dignitas in the kill count at the very least, but they certainly mean a lot less when you let the Gold Fury get taken away. Yeah. That's true.
Kills don't really
They're supposed to mean that you get the Gold Fury.
Precisely. That's going to be the big key. Like, making sure you can get in that situation.
Sure.
But here's the Gold Fury steal again.
Here it is. So already we've seen the cool board come down, but just jumping over the wall and taking it.
Man, that sucks. They do kill him after the fact, though, as well. But look at the gold at the top of the screen. You can see after that replay that the gold just showing that it's just ever so slightly in Mouse's favor. Kills really don't mean that much. If anything, they can hurt you a little bit, too. Because if you do have... If the game's still even or the other team's ahead, but one of your teammates has a lot of kills on their back, they get a bounty for that. Sure. Which means it's worth more gold as the game goes on.
Or you might feel like you have a bigger lead than you really do if you just look at the kill counts the whole time. But looks like we are ready to go ahead and get back into the game. And into the game we shall go, where Mouse has slowed down Team Dignitas just a bit. But it looks like Cherryo had a bit of trouble getting back in. So they've run out of pause time is what this is. And now Jermain is into trouble as well. Trixtank, Arkkyl, and Qvo hunt him down.
Awkward situation then for Mousesports here. Obviously, just so you guys know at home, like these players do get enough time to do the pauses. They get pause limits and things too. Clearly, Cherryo has run out and Mousesports have run out of pauses. And he is in Egypt, and we know that he can have some connection problems now and again, unfortunately for himself, just because of infrastructure over in that region. Causes a couple of issues there. Hopefully he gets back in this game now, but big power play for Dig, 5v4, and a game that they need to win. They're not going to be disappointed overall. I mean, they will be, but at the same time, they want those wins, you know?
Yeah, Dignitas want to go to LAN. I mean, even if this is part of what helps them get there, they got to win when they get there. So Dignitas certainly got to do everything they can to get in, but Cherryo's here, no problems.
The hero they need is back.
He kind of is.
Watch him throw the game now, and then everyone's like, man, he might as well have just stayed DC'd this game. He would have made more of an impact watching from the outside.
Hindu, are you all those Reddit accounts?
Yes.
It sounds like it might be you.
Every single one.
I think it is.
Why do you think I'm one that gets the most, like, overall positive Reddit threads? It's because I'm making them all the time.
Oh, no. I can't believe you turned this into a compliment for you somehow.
This Hindu guy's so cool. I wish I was Hindu. Wow. That accent's amazing.
No one has ever said that.
I mean, they do. I don't know why. I'm still confused about it myself.
BigManTingz, we were wondering what he was going to turn that tier 2 book into, Graham.
Soul Reaver.
Soul Reaver.
I did say, like...
you said Soul Reaver, yes.
Well, I said Soul Reaver after he went to the Warlock staff.
Right.
Now, I have a feeling that Tingz had the option to go Book of Toth or the Soul Reaver this game by going for the tier 2 start. I think he really wanted to wash Book of Toth more than likely, but the situation changed.
Trixtank controlled, fear no evil. Sure, we're glad to have Cherryo back now. Didn't even need the help there from BigManTingz. Yet another fall for Trixtank.
Watching Dardez play actual supports, I mean, you've seen it on his knocks, but he lands that long-range route that sets up his team. Well, if you can land a long-range route like that, might as well land a long-range pull on Sylvanas, which does the same thing. And can we just note the trust from Big Man, who used the ultimate immediately. The pull went through, and already I'm a monster just took Trixtank's life away.
And look how Trixtank actually is a good bit behind Dardez, who has a chance to go back and grab his second relic once he backs now. He's level 12, opposed to Trixtank, who only is going to be rocking the sprint at level 10 right now. So those level differences sometimes don't make a big difference, but this is one of those areas where I think they do.
You're right, Finch. It's all about the secondary relic. The secondary relic coming into play means a little bit more survivability or engage potential, specifically for the Guardians. As we watch Dardez, he's not scared to throw that. Can we just see what Dardez is maxing out of interest? I want to know if he's maxing his pull or he's just at rank 1, because the more you put it, hang on a second. Potential fight, Nika came in over the wall. No, it's going to be the pull last, so he's at max cooldown right now. It does lower as the game goes on.
Or as you put more points into it, yeah. If that was what he wanted
20 seconds
to
is a long cooldown.
That is a long wow.
Yeah, one of the longest in the game, I'd say.
That's pretty hard to hit.
Outside of ultimates. Well, it's just such a game changer, too, is the reason it's on the longer edge of things. Because if you find a pull through the wall or something like that, it's death day for whoever it connects with.
It used to be like Arachne's ult, right? It used to be to do that kind of thing, basically, essentially. So,
Yeah, it was a lower cooldown once upon a time, but did extend up. It's always been on the longer side though, but 20 seconds, probably one of the longest normal abilities in the game on cooldown.
You're not going to get me to feel bad for Sylvanas, though. It's just not happening.
Well, I mean, once upon a time, his wisps used to heal minions.
I remember, but he was
deal damage
so
to
good in
minions.
lane. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah, he still got AoE auto attacks. Like Sylvanas has had a couple of hits throughout his career, but still a viable god, still
Certainly.
useful in the right composition. It's just taking a bit of time this season for teams to utilize him again. Everyone very worried at the start of the season with how the map was, that bigger model characters would struggle a little bit if they didn't have escapes in the jungle.
Now, I was a little worried because they committed a lot to get the kill on the Trixtank, like the Fear No Evil,
Yeah.
I'm a Monster, and the Wrath of Terra. I mean, all going back up. It doesn't matter. There's nothing Dignitas could do in that meantime. Just go ahead and confirm that kill on the Trix.
And the big thing is, like, what does Dig do without Trixtank around? I mean, if you look at their front line, what's going to front line for them while Trix is off the map?
Sure.
Variety's got to come all the way over for them the solo lane, which isn't a thing we've seen for a little while. Although, Nika, I did like the little gank attempt he made on mid, which we were talking about, that little kill earlier on. I love the fact that Nika's trying to make rotations cheekily when he can to look for a bit of spice in the mid lane. Surprise people, because not many solo lanes do that as much anymore.
He's the one that kept this game from being a little bit worse than it is right now by stealing that Gold Fury. It's why Mouse have the smallest of leads here at 17.5 minutes into the game, so nothing particularly relevant, but keeping it even with Dignitas. I mean, a top team in Europe right now, contending to go to LAN. This is big for Mouse to show that they certainly are right here with everyone else. They just need a little bit more.
And I'm hoping eventually that we'll start to see some of these solo lanes that take teleport do some communication with the jungler. So, for example, if the jungler's not going to be able to find a gank, you can kind of rotate over to dual lane as a solo lane and have your jungler hold the wave and, you know, just farm up the wave in solo and then look to pressure the right side and TP back. And on the left now, here comes Qvo.
Jermain gets plucked right back into the damage from QvoFred. Aegis is going to immune the last breath tick, so he's alive, goes up into the air to try and find some return shots. Jermain survives.
That was closer than I thought that was over. Like, I'm so surprised that he managed to survive that. The Aegis. Notice he didn't use the beads for that whole engagement. He just held onto those beads.
But look at BigManTingz continuing to try and chase along with Cherryo. QvoFred comes back in one more time. Cobra's Kiss into the whirlwind of Rage of Steel. Arkkyl finds Cherryo. Nika, the next one in trouble, plucked back and fed to the wolves. I'm a Monster hits no one. Stygian Torment controls for the moment, but really nowhere for the doggo to go. Zyrhoes finds that kill as well. 2 members down from Mouse. All 5 here for Dig, and their eyes are on the Gold Fury.
One of those situations you were
Jermain
hoping.
now.
Oh, Jermain's still trying to box, but he's going to die for that now. He has no beads. He's going to fall. And now the Gold Fury is very low.
Oh, man.
Dardez on his own. He can't stop this. Maybe Tingz with a crush. Nope. Forced away by Variety. First lead of the game, realistically, for Dig.
And we couldn't quite see what it was, but Cherryo and BigManTingz had gone aggressive on the jungle near that mid-tier 1 tower. It looks like they were trying to take a fight. Instead, they got collapsed on, Graham.
Yeah, and it really hurt them too. Funny thing is when Nika turned up and hit that Torment with the ultimate, if Tingz had his ultimate available, they would have probably got a kill or 2 there in response, but Tingz fired it a little bit earlier. I'm not sure if he had it already channeled and was at max length was the reason for that. But in the end, not gonna pay dividends for Mousesports that time round. Instead, Dig get the win, and now they're looking for more.
This could be what starts to break the game open for Dignitas here just a bit, as Pyromancer is now being looked at. No one from Mouse is around, so this will be free for Team Dignitas. They've taken the Gold Fury and the Pyromancer. These 2 early to mid objectives are all theirs. They've taken them off the map.
Yep, just take Qvo off Circuit. That's the big talking point. I mean, he's been solid in every single game, even in game 2 when Mouse did win that one. There was nothing really that Qvo had done particularly wrong in that game. He'd made a good performance in for his team, and yet again, 5-0 and 3 at the stage of this one. He dictates the pace so well on this Circuit, and he is exactly the playstyle Dig want to have from their jungler. Take this away. It's that and Robin are the 2 that QvoFred is really dangerous with this season.
Another storyline for me, BigManTingz has not been able to, or rather the squad of Mouse has not been able to get the I'm a Monsters just yet this game so far. They've got set up, you know, with Nika, Cherryo, and Dardez, but I just don't think that it has been able to find the hit they wanted yet. Uses the ultimate to Zyrhoes to avoid getting control. Does get some crush damage, but he'll be fine.
Beautiful. Yeah, the dash back into his cloud actually gives him CC immunity for a second, and the moment he lands, he hits the ult, knowing the Fear No Evil's about to tick, and that gives him, make sure he doesn't have to use his Fear. And obviously he didn't have beads at that time, because if he gets feared there, potential for an Ammo Monster Crush combo to just end his life.
It is a little bit slower that you'd be moving. Even though he's being pushed away, it's not quite the same as if you were just running away yourself. So it's a big deal he was able to avoid getting controlled there even for a moment and stay alive to Zyrhoes.
Yeah, centered in the game, though, Dignitas are comfortable, but they're not highly excited about the position they're in right now. Reason being is because when you look towards the later stages, BigManTingz is playing Scylla, and I'm not as sold on it as everyone else is, because the days have kind of left to the wayside now of like one Scylla ult can change a game. Well, to be fair, like one anything ult can change a game. That's kind of where I'm at these days. But they've got a Rama, they do have a Scylla, and the Fear No Evils from Cherryo all make big impacts in the later stages. And then the same can be said for Dignitas, and Artemis is always something to be feared in these team fights. And the front line going to be very tanky as this one goes on with a lot of control from the Jing 10 and the Sobek.
Arkkyl still itemizing into the Mad Eye's cloak. Still trying to go for a little more protection, whereas Jermain, my dude's never heard of protection. He wants a little bit of crit, and so he can keep swinging. Arkyl's got to make sure he's safe from all this control, but Jermain does not have that same fear.
Cheeky. Got beads, got Aegis. So we'll have to use probably one of those. Trying to hold on to both. Beads used, Aegis used. Still being run under the tower. Ball comes out to secure it. And Qvo tanky enough with that Spirit's Robe just to weather the storm and stay alive.
Fear No Evil used. Trixtank goes to lurking in the waters to make sure that he does not get controlled. And they're out. Another clean pick for Dignitas. Just not talking about the safety of Jermain's build compared to Arkyl's. He gets punished in duo.
That's that thing that happens in ranked games sometimes too, where you are under your tower. Under your tower, perfectly safe, and you die.
Beads and Aegis available.
You use beads, you use Aegis, you even try and use your ultimate, and you still die, and then your team goes good game. And you're like, what do you want me to do about that? Like, how am I supposed to survive this? Maybe he could have beads and just ulted earlier. That could have been an option for himself. But trying to just hold on to as many of those things as possible, I do get it.
Instead, ends up getting punished as Jermain, and now a little bit of freedom for Dignitas, but they've taken everything off the map already, Graham. They got the Gold Fury. Yeah. They got the Pyromancer. I mean, it's just a clean pick. They don't even really get anything off it. They just kind of bully Jermain.
But I mean, that's what you want to do on cooldown. Like, Qvo has abilities, go in and use them. Like, hey, my ultimate's up, who can we kill? Oh, let's look at Jermain. He's being left alone on the left-hand side. We've got wall coverage there. We know they're in mid. Oh, yeah, fine. When the opportunity presents itself, you might as well.
Left alone, that's factually true. But if Jermain was under his tier 1, what more does the man have to do?
Be under a tier 2.
That's apparently, like at this point. Yeah, it's not easy trying to survive when Qvo is on this circuit, man. He is all over the map, especially with the blink available for him as well. He is going to keep you constantly under pressure.
Absolute full credit to Mousesports today, though. I mean, Dignitas, they need the wins. They are still playing for something, trying to get themselves to land here today. But Mousesports, they're mainly playing for pride and to see how they measure up against one of the best teams in Europe in Dignitas here. And I'm proud of the fact that they are coming out to play here. They're not just being rolled over and not caring. We've seen that in previous SPL splits where the bottom teams, it doesn't matter anymore to them. They can't do anything better, but they're still coming out and giving it their all. You felt that in Game 2. And even though they're 10-3 now, you can still feel it here. They're not that far off the pace. Full credit to them. That's
an excellent point. And they're not that far behind, really. And even if Mouse wins, I mean, what are they then? 2-8, I guess, at that point, right?
Yo, if Mouse win, they potentially keep Dignitas at home.
That's it. And that's not really a thing that they gain. They just take it from Dig, and they're still very much putting their all into it. And I'm not too surprised. I don't make it sound like I'm surprised. Yeah. I said at the beginning that Jermain, Dardez, Cherryo, I mean, these are players that even I've gotten to meet. And I know that they care very much about winning these games and getting better. So I'm glad to see them putting it on display and even trying to pull a Gold Fury here up against Dig.
I like this Gold Fury call here, but just keep an eye on Trix and Arkkyl. Arkkyl does have that bow and the Magi's Cloak. Harder to TC chain him up, and with Qvo wrapping around the back and Variety teleport in, awkward for Mouse.
The blink comes in. Variety trying to control, forces them all to back off. Whirlwind and Rage and Steel doesn't really catch anyone as the boar goes through everyone. I'm a Monster only hits Trixtank, and the control lands onto Nika as they force him back. Qvo going to continue to chase. Pluck lands onto Trix, and the Fear No Evil separates the whole team, but Qvo hunted Nika down. Cherryo had nowhere to go. Variety takes him down as well. Team Dignitas punish the push-up from Mouse.
Very, very interesting fight there between both teams. I didn't think about this combination before, but my oh my, is that disgusting. The boar into the apple. If you throw the apple first and hit someone, then throw the boar out, everyone's going to get stuck together so they can't run away from the apple, dude. So that's a potential thing that could have happened there, but in the end,
Mouse are going to keep this up. Mouse want to try and stick around. They still have Jermain. Here they still have BigManTingz. So they've got the damage, but the Gold Fury has been dropped entirely. Dignitas are looking for the fight. Cobra's Kiss, Blink. Aegis only going to keep Jermain alive for a second. Variety hunts him down. Now the Gold Fury can go to Dig for free.
Yeah, Mouse wanted to contest that, knowing that they had Crush available still from BigManTingz, a lot of burst damage, and also Jermain had his ultimate. Jermain gets up to the sky, gets a good ultimate off there, they can steal that away, so just trying to delay the potential inevitable, which came to be.
So much gold available for Dig. They're going to go back now and spend it about almost 2,000 a piece. Yeah. That's going to get them some pretty key items finished off and come back in and make life even harder for Mouse. Tier 1 tower in mid falls as well. A little bit more global gold going to the team, and Pyro is up. There's more for Dignitas to take if they want it. Yeah, the Pyromancer definitely a free option. It's not something that I care that much about this season. It's not something that I've sat there and gone, oh, this is really big, guys. You lose a Pyromancer, you lose the game. I mean, you can with Portal Demon, and you can if your carry goes down. Dardez gets pulled back in. They cleanly take him down. A couple of ults are committed, yes, but that's enough to take down Dardez. And that pick is actually important because that will be a Pyromancer now. There's not a whole lot Mouse can do without one of their frontliners being available to tack this up. Nika won't invest anything here for a Pyromancer. He will have to go for the Fire Giant though, and that's why Nika's going to play the Dance of Destiny here, where he's going to stay around close enough to keep an eye on it and look for the steal like he's done twice on the Gold Fury. QvoFred's probably going to, at least the way the game's gone so far, probably the MVP, but you got to continue to give some credit here to Trix. I mean, because he got kind of punished a little bit early on, but still has been finding these plucks. He's been disruptive, and when they target him, he's able to safely get out, Graham, and still do things for the team. That's what Sobek is, though. That's what Sobek does. Get in, get out, and still live somehow. And you're like, wait, how did that happen? Well, not when I'm playing him. Trix is getting it done, Graham. Okay. I was like, do you want to say something mean? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to say anything mean. I'm a nice guy. That's right. Oh, are you reformed? I've never not been reformed. That time off Twitter helped you, right? It really did. Where you really were able to reflect. It was a troublesome period where I didn't have to read Twitter comments about when this god's getting a skin and when is that god getting a skin? When I was fixing matchmaking again. Can you get on that? Which one? Both. Both? Go do one at a time. Do you think I am? Hindu man? I don't think you're reformed. I don't know why you keep saying that. I never said that word. You said you did just now. Just a second ago, you said you were reformed. I said I never was reformed. That's what I said. Well, then that would mean that you are now. Okay. What are you talking about? Whatever. Whatever is Mouse gonna do? You like that? Oh, that was good. Yeah, to try and recover here in this game. I like it. I like it. Yeah, thank you, Graham, for no problem patronizing me. I needed it though. I'm not lying. I needed the verbal affirmation. We're going to the door. Yeah. Where's that lead? The other world where Mouse are better than Dig overall? I don't know. Maybe yeah, the door leads to the other world where Mouse are one game away from potentially making LAN. And Dig are like playing for survival. I will bring up though, Finch, that Dig not making LAN here is actually bigger than anything else. I think Dig need to get back to LAN and show they can win, yeah. And that's so important for them. Because they didn't make Worlds, this team stuck together through that disappointment, that absolute disastrous disappointment of Super Regionals, where nobody would have expected that. Not them not making it, but more them not winning their freaking game that was important. Like, that was the biggest surprise to me. And them not making LAN is more important than any other team right now, for that team specifically. Fear No Evil is going to separate Trixtank away from the rest of the team. Qvo, his target's going to be Jermain on the right-hand side, forces him back. Jermain had to use the beads, but held on to the Aegis as Team Dignitas regroup. Good situation here, because Tingz and Jermain still have their ultimates, and only beads used by Jermain. Not a terrible situation, but Dardez going. Luck? Dardez is done. Arkkyl's only able to find that hit to get it done. Nika going to continue in and try and find something, but instead, he's going to find the last breath, and Nika very well could be the next casualty. Zyrhoes finds that yet again. Dignitas get 2 clean picks and turn back towards the objective. Now, Scylla is really useful with the Armor Monster if you can get some setup, some pin, some lockdown. But what Dig have done is stopped the opportunity for Mouse to do that every single time. So BigManTingz is just going to have to fire it raw without any setup, which makes it a lot trickier to connect with.
That is what happened in that fight towards the end of it, and that's why Dig get the Fire Giant.
No ultimate for Jermain either, so not going to be able to contest. He gets plucked back in, nowhere for him to go, can only stand and shoot, and Arkkyl finishes him off. Now with the Fire Giant around all of Team Dignitas, really the world is their oyster. Tier 2 towers galore, and they can take them down, take the gold as well, and expand this lead. But I think that they want this Phoenix on the solo side.
If Cherryo stays mid now, that's a Phoenix. I don't really see a way of them stopping this with just Dardez and Tingz, especially if they just split nicely against each other. That's going to be the case here. Cherryo was too late. He hung around, hoping to get the tier 2, not expecting that Phoenix push. Dignitas abused the situation nicely.
That's a free Phoenix. It's going to forever be weakened now for the rest of the game. Team Dignitas have already stripped it. They can come down and grab Tier 2 in mid, Tier 1 and Tier 2 in duo at their leisure. They still have plenty of time on the Fire Giant, another 3 minutes.
Good pull on Variety, but that wasn't the prime target they were after. Did force Variety.
I'm a monster.
Gets eat by the I'm a Monster, but look how tanky he is. Just ate it.
Has not fallen yet this game. Really, it's only the dual lane of Dignitas that have fallen. Variety, QvoFred, and Zyrhoes have not fallen yet this game, so, I mean, yeah.
Nothing more depressing than being a carry and going, I have the damage, and then hitting a tank and he's still there like, oh, is that it? Really? And then you have to go, well, okay, I'm not good at life in general. I'm just no reason to exist.
Sad, boys.
I mean, it's realistic, though. I mean, come on, you're still in, you're like, I'm a monster, boom! How are you still at half health? What is going on?
Yeah, that's one thing. I have no reason to exist.
I mean, yeah. It's not doing anything that you want it to do, you know? You've got no reason to exist. Maybe it was a little bit deep. You're right. You're right.
No, but BigManTingz is certainly struggling to find the damage. I mean, that wasn't exactly what they want, right? Being able to get the pullback on the Variety, but it's kind of the first I'm a Monster that we've seen connect in recent memory, and it still wasn't enough.
And Finch, you're talking right, though, but I mean, he's done a lot of player damage. Tingz is top of the player charts on this Scylla. He is hitting abilities, but it's just not enough to stop Dignitas' front line.
But that's what I'm saying. If all you're going to hit is the 2, then why the Scylla?
Yep.
You know? It just hasn't. They haven't gotten what they needed out of it so far. And to be fair, it's because, as you said, Dignitas have made a concerted effort to try and prevent the setup into the I'm a Monster from happening as they take all the towers in duo lane.
Keep it on Dardez. He's going to go for a pull. If he can find it, it could really swing things if he can get a prime target like Zyrhoes. But all relics available for both teams here too. And with that being said, it means the first rotation, they need to look to burn beads. It's kind of tricky to do that, but Cherryo might have to be the one to force it.
Crush hits on the Variety, forces the ultimate out of him. I think more for CC immunity than anything else to avoid getting pulled by Nika. Tier 2 tower does fall to QvoFred's pressure in mid, though.
1-for-1 trading ultimates from the solo lanes is not a bad situation for Mouse to be on this tank line, specifically with Qvo being mid, but 2 members being mid lane here against 3 and 4 on the left. That could be a go time for Dig. They just don't want to get overly aggressive just yet, it seems.
We're able to clear the minion wave, so Qvo can't keep pushing in mid, at least for the second. Now he'll back up, try and clear this wave, and continue this pressure to keep Mouse's focus split, because they also got to defend these fire minions.
Yeah, fire minions on the right-hand side are going to cause a big problem with Cherryo showing face there. That's why you see them go aggressive on this left-hand side before. I'm a Monster off the mark again from Tingz. Going for highlight reel plays, man. I get it. I get it. I know he's trying to make something happen, but that being down is absolutely devastating for Mouse's defense now.
Now Cherryo's forced to blink back into his own fountain. Dardez controlled, and Dardez gets deleted. Fiends on the right-hand side, remember, is already down. Fiends on the left-hand side falls as well. Minions are now beginning to come in and threaten the Titan, and with only 3 members alive, Mouse are going to have a tall task trying to defend with only Jermain's ultimate. Mid-Phoenix gets shredded as Variety keeps everybody busy on the backside all by himself.
Variety still has his ultimate, but Jermain and Scylla still have their beads available. Cherryo does too, so that whirlwind of rage still won't be too impactful just to slow them down. They won't need it though. The Titan's gonna fall.
Damage onto the Titan. Team Dignitas, it might not have been easy, but they get it done. Game 3, they take it along with the set over Mouse and keep their chances of making it to the LAN alive.
Not a surprise to see Dig win overall. Big surprise to see how well Mouse performed and took Dig to 3 games as well. Mouse had opportunities in Game 1, Game 2, Game 3 to take considerable leads and if not win the game. They did that in Game 2, in fact. But they can definitely look back and go, where did we go wrong?
And the surprise isn't even that we saw tremendous effort for them, because I expected that, but you're right. It's that it translated into almost getting the set, basically. That is the part that was so surprising. But who was the MVP for you? Mixer chat, I'd like to know. I know that Graham keeps asking me in between that I ask you all to give that, because he really cares so much personally.
I do.
Yeah.
Curious so much. Cool.
Reformed now. Look at him. He's reformed.
No, I'm just going to let you hang high and dry instead of being...
What do you mean hang high and dry?
You know what... Other people don't know what I mean. One thing I will say, I think Qvo was probably MVP there. That's my vote for that. He had a great game all the way through.
And I was saying it during the game that likely he was going to be the MVP, but great setups were coming from Variety and Trixtank as well. There.
Definitely all the way through. Good performance from Dig overall. Not really, though, when they look back at things, they're going to be upset with themselves about how they played that game too, but more credit to Mouse.
That could have been a little bit cleaner, but they do get the win that they need. Let's get it back over to the desk to break that down and the global standings.
That way.
Oh, I don't like this. I don't know what this is, but I don't like this. Hindu, cut it. Dignitas cut it, finally, after game number 2. Wind up with the victory. It was a troublesome scenario for them throughout the remainder of that sort of, what's the word I'm looking for?
The set.
Thank you. Troublesome stuff during the middle of the set when Mouse was able to get game 2. And shouts to Hindu over there, a.k.a. the Gambler. He really nailed it when he said more credit to Mouse than Dignitas in game 2. I think Mouse just earned themselves a victory. And then quite the opposite in game number 3, 19-3, Dignitas on top.
I mean, unfortunate set of circumstances for Cherryo in the middle of this game, not being able to connect for a small portion of it, but still, the whole team as a whole battled their way through the entire set, taking Dignitas for a long trip, honestly, in all 3 games, winning game number 2 with a very interesting draft here for Cherryo on the Habwa, and even respect banning it in games 1 and 3.
Something I do want to mention real quick because I saw some, what's the word I'm looking for? Confusion in Mixer chat about the pause rules. So each team gets 3 pauses that are 3 minutes each, up to 9 minutes. And I don't even think once upon a time it was in the rules, not sure if it's in the rules. The opposing team can't actually pause for anybody but themselves, and it's just for tech difficulties. And frankly, just to add a little bit of editorial in there, you shouldn't pause for the enemy team. 1, what if you need it later? And 2, you're playing from big boy money. Play to win, baby. So no disrespect whatsoever towards either of these teams, just an unfortunate circumstance. But moving back into the happenstance of it all, QvoFred coming out on top, MVP, most ballinest player here. 6-0-9 for the jungler.
Playing Circuit in all 3 games. QvoFred really liking this pick as it was first picked for Dignitas, really leaning heavily on this assassin.
This is the type of character that picks the game and runs with it. When you select Circuit for your jungler, this is you buying fully into the jungler-driven meta. This is a character that's not like a Bracken or Athena. This is the god that's going to run the pace of the game and win it for you, arguably. QvoFred doing just that.
He's able to really just stretch his positioning everywhere.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what lane he goes to. Despite Mousesports getting that first blood and a lot of aggression in the duo lane, it was mitigated a lot by QvoFred's rotations.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the key, is that the Circuit's able to get around the map very frequently and very efficiently by way of the mobility, and then, of course, when you actually show up, you can blow people up. Dignitas here fighting for land contention. Everything's still kosher for them as far as coming to America. They're sitting pretty at number 2 right now, 7-2 versus Energy's 7-3. And totally, you before were talking about what happens with the rest of the day.
That's true. If Dignitas win this next one, that's it. They're sitting pretty at 8-2 and they will advance. If they lose the next one, then things might not be as pretty because they'll be tied with Dignitas in the set score and then tied if they're tied in the plus-minus department as well. Well, that's when the head-to-head comes and Energy supreming them there.
So right up next is Obey Rival, and that one not really affecting much unless Rival drop both games, right?
Yes, pretty much.
Whereas Obey versus Dignitas, much different story. But even with that Rival match, very important for Rival to keep going. Otherwise, they could wind up tied for second, and then we got a whole mess.
That's true.
So right now, you do not want to leave. I don't want to. I just have to move over there. I'm going to call the next game. So we'll be right back with some more Smite Pro League.
Looks like you're changing and all. But why didn't you call? Something in the air, always something in the air. Inexplicable, I can feel it in the air. Can you feel me? Can you feel me? Can you feel Do you miss me at all? Do you think about the things we used to do? No, you couldn't stand tall. So why didn't you call? So many years has gone by, but I think about you all the time. Looks like you're changing and all.